यहाँ पर सभी सम्मानित महानुभावों से मैं विनम्र निवेदन करना चाहूँगा कि यहाँ पूर्व में सभी सम्मानित संस्थाओं को बनाते हुए उन सभी के व्यक्तित्व भी महान बनते चले गए। अब मैं जिनकी बात करने जा रहा हूँ उन्होंने शासकीय तंत्र का माध्यम लेकर व्यक्ति से पब्लिक सेक्टर में संस्था का निर्माण कर डाला। Yes, I'm speaking about Dr. Amod Gupta from the Advanced Eye Care System, PGI Chandigarh. By the time he completed his MS in '76 and joined the single room ophthalmic department at his alma mater. By the time he retired, he was the Dean of the Advanced Eye Care Center at PGI Chandigarh. This speaks volumes of the man who would be in his department at 0700 hours and the last one to leave. When the name Amod Gupta crops up, the first thought that springs to mind is his scientific temperament. Here is a man of few words who speaks only science, where there are no frills, and honesty and integrity are a given. On his journey, Dr. Gupta can be credited with 1 patent, 3 textbooks, and hold your breath, 285 research papers that have been cited 6,000 times in the last 5 years, which in layman's language translates to more than 2 searches per day on the search engine Scopus. He was the first to describe a new disease, and pardon my pronunciation, serpiginous-like choroiditis, a disease unique to persons of primarily Asian Indian origins anywhere in the world. He has been running UVEA and Retina clinic for over 25 years and can boast of a whopping database of over 6,500 UVEA cases and 60,000 retina cases who are on active follow-up. He draws patients from all over North India and far beyond. His seminal and original works in the diagnosis, clinical manifestations, and management of ocular tuberculosis have transformed him into an authority of international repute. He is a superbly observant clinician, active researcher, and out-of-the-box thinker with both feet firmly planted on the ground. Amongst the many awards, it's my privilege to cite a few. The first recipient of R.N. Mathur Award, Shiva Reddy Awards in 2008, both conferred by the AIOS, the Distinguished Service Award by the Asia Pacific Academy in 2007, and the Achievement Award of the American Academy of Ophthalmology. Not many know it, but the GOI has conferred the Padma Shri in 2013 on Dr. Amod Gupta. I would like to call him on the dais to please shed more light upon the Advanced Eye Care, PGI Chandigarh. Dr. Amod Gupta, please.
Vishud Bhai ji, Dr. Jain, Nam, dignitaries on the dais. I thought I was in wrong company. We have such big institutions represented here and honored. It's a very, very humbling experience. And thank you, Dr. Jain, and the trust for giving me the privilege of sharing the same dais where you're talking the lives and times of Badrinath, Venkadaswamy, Dr. G.N. Rao. You know, I certainly don't belong to that big company. I'm a very, very simple man, very humble man, and your recognition has humbled me much more. I would not like to speak at all about advanced eye care system. I would like to share maybe a slice of my philosophy. It might appeal to some of my younger friends sitting here, because I neither had a vision nor a dream, which possibly the President of India, Abdul Kalam, could have a dream, could have a vision when he became the President. But I'm sure when he was born, or when you are born, you're like a clean slate. You're burdened with a bundle of genes, and as you grow up, the environmental factors which are going to interact hour-to-hour basis, day-to-day basis, and that involves your interactions with your parents, your friends, your schoolmates, your college mates, your teachers, your students, your patients. Everything reacts, and how you react back, I think, would make a man out of you. I came from a very humble background. My father was a very, very junior officer in the government department. I didn't see electricity till I was almost 14, 15 years. I had no exposure to what the electric light is. And I studied all my junior classes in the light of a kerosene lamp or a lantern. I never saw my mother eating till she passed away at the age of almost 83 years. I never saw her sleeping. My father worked round the clock. He was a government servant. He worked round the clock. I didn't know when his day began and when his day ended. These were the kind of influences in my life. His personal agenda was an epitome of commitment. They were building the nation. They were the guys who saw the partition, and they took upon themselves to build this great nation. And he was one of the part. Honesty, integrity, you name it, they had it plenty. Above everything, he was a proud father. He didn't know which school or class I was going, but every little achievement was celebrated. He would go and tell everyone who came across, look, my son achieved this today. There was a positive feedback. He never told us, if you fail this exam, if you don't get into a medical school, what's going to happen to you? He said, you are going to go to the medical school. A positive energy, a positive environment he created, and that's probably led the philosophy. I often wondered, such a man, every year I remember, even as a small child, whenever they were announced Padma awards, I would say, this guy is working day and night, working so hard, so honest, so diligent. Why is the government not recognizing him? I discovered his Praman Patras more than 35 years after he passed away in a pile of his papers. He never told us that he was recognized by the British government, by the Indian government. As you can see, 1939, 1954, he never talked about his achievements. We didn't know. 35 years after his death, I discovered from his pile of papers that he had been recognized. I think achievements should make us humble. He never wore them as a chip on his shoulder. I was fortunate when I joined the PGI to work under a great teacher, again a very highly disciplined man, Professor I.S. Jain. Dr. Lingam Gopal is a student. He was a very punctual man, a man of unquestionable honesty and integrity. Now, these are the values: hard work, integrity, honesty, diligence, punctuality. You can't teach these values. You imbibe these values slowly, imperceptibly. They get into your system when you see these people, the parents. You are in a very, very influential age group, and they come into your system. I often say the parents and teachers are like performers, like stage performers. They have to perform for the benefit of their students, for the benefit of their children. They cannot be seen being dishonest, shirking work, not doing things. Now, this was a man. He was, to my mind, nobody till date in India has been able to beat his observation skills. He was a man who was 20, 30 years ahead of his time. And not only he focused on the eye, he focused on the whole body as a whole, the whole system. He taught me the value of documentation and writing papers. Unless what you do, what you observe, you are not able to communicate to the rest of the world, it's meaningless whatever you might do. So that is what he taught me. Now, I'm not sure how many of you here ever met Dr. Fedorov. You met him. Fedorov was a guy, he was visiting our institute in 1977, and earlier that year I had married this lady, my wife Gunita. She had done her medicine from Moscow. And when Fedorov learned that my wife was, she speaks Russian, and she had been to Russia, he was so excited about it. He said, no, get her from wherever she is. I want to talk to her in Russian. I have yet to come across a person who's less demanding than her. She sacrificed entire life. She quit her job just to see me succeed in my life, in my mission. She never questioned till date my spending long hours in the clinics, in the hospital, at work, or the frequent trips across the world or the country. Never for once she said, why are you going? How many days you're going to be there? Never. Her and my daughter, she is another one who suffered because of my long absences. The only moment of glory or moment of reward was getting pictures done on the famed steps of Rashtrapati Bhavan the day I was getting the Padma Shri award. 1986, and here is my chief, he's still the chief, and he gave me, you organize a Retina meeting, Retina update. Here you can see me sitting between my chief and the lady who was senior to me. He gave me the complete responsibility. This is the value I learned, that if you want to get work done, you give full responsibility to the person who's supposed to do the job. Trust. The guy you see on the right side of the picture, if I had to make him chairman of a department of a big institute, I would not select him. The guy on the extreme left, against the popular belief, the day, this is on the eve of my chief's retirement, 30th June 1989. I was just 39 years of age. It's a big institute, a national institute. It's a 39-year, youngish looking chap. I looked half my age at the time. And responsibility. Now, the director had to hand over the department to me. He took that. He had that courage. He had that courage of conviction that this guy he handed over the charge to me. Nobody believed it, that this guy could run the department. Professor Chutani, he was a mentor to all. He was one of the founding fathers of our institute. He gave me the mool mantra of my life. 1991, I was rejected for the job of a professor because of whatever reasons. He came to my office, he just used to walk in. He said, do you know why you have not been selected as a professor? I said, no, I don't know. You are not visible. Sir, I attend all the meetings, I go to the morning classes, I go to all conferences. He said, I don't mean that physical visibility. I'm sure you attend all the classes. People are not talking that Amod Gupta should be made a professor. I said, why? He says, your work is not visible. I'm not talking about the physical visibility, I'm talking, nobody is talking about your work. Your work has to be visible all over the world. People have to see and appreciate and cite it. Only then people are going to make you a professor, otherwise you are not going to become a professor. Here was the man, he gave me the mantra. Here is another guy, in 1993, he put his job on the block, on the chopping block. He threatened to resign because the then Union Health Minister, for whatever reasons, he said, don't make this guy a professor. And here is my director. He said, I'm going to resign. If he is the one who is deserving, you make him or I go. I quit. How many people would say that, would have that kind of conviction? Now, these are the guys who contribute, to your making. Now, here is this little girl. She was my student. She was first year student. Okay, I was her guide. I said, look, I want you to do a thesis, a research on the outer retina and the choroid. That this is an area which fascinates me. I want to explore this area. Why don't you do a thesis? She went back in her summer holidays to Mangalore, where she belonged, and there she found a book written by Stereoscopic Atlas of Macular Diseases by Don Gass. Don Gass, by the way, I'm sure all of you are aware, was the father of macular diseases. She got me a photostat copy of the book. She presented that book to me. Sir, here is the book. We started working on that project. She presented the 4th edition of that book, which she edited. The Don Gass Atlas was written by this girl who brought a photocopy of that book to me. She's writing the 5th edition of the same book. She's the one who introduced me to Don Gass. This is the guy here. She introduced me. Don Gass traveled 50 miles, 7 o'clock in the morning, to hear what I had to say about the diseases which she worked with me. He wanted to hear first time what kind of diseases you are seeing on which he had worked all his life. Patnaik, I think he was mentioned today. He would not believe anybody. He is the one who first time, he said, look, if you can show me a patient, year after year you are showing the same patient, you must be doing some good work. How is it patients come back to you? Patients don't come back to us. You must be doing really good. When you hear these kind of words from people who are around you, it gives you so much strength to move on in life. He is my dear friend, a professor of medicine. We started first time in the world a collaboration. He was a professor of medicine, a rheumatologist. He came to my clinic. We would sit together for 25 years till he went to Australia. He learned slit lamp examination. He was as good in doing a slit lamp examination as he was good in single remark. So when you are sitting in the clinic, you have to keep your eyes and ears open. You have to have 360 degrees, all your senses alive. One remark from him, he says, Amod, how come your patients in uveitis clinic have such a huge Monto's reaction. Incidentally, they test for TB, skin test for TB. He says, in my own clinic, in the medical wards or outpatient, I don't see this thing. Why don't we explore? Is this inflammation of the eye caused by tuberculosis? That began my journey. We have already contributed God knows how many diseases, how many characterizations, 25, 30 papers. I think they have several thousand citations of those papers alone. One stray remark could take you to a status where you are recognized all over the world. So these are the people. It's not my contribution, it is their contribution to make a person who is who. For the young people, I like to share, many a times people have told me that how come you at this age you have so much energy, you sit through the sessions day after day in these meetings, 9 o'clock, you don't even go to the washroom, you keep sitting here. When I was young, Dr. Dogra here, he knows, when we were very, very young, maybe your age who are at the back benches, what would happen in the meetings? I would get up to read a paper, all the senior people sitting on the front rows would walk out of the room to go and have a cup of tea or coffee. It was so disappointing. Till one day, this guy you see on the left side, Dr. Nagpal. It took me 10 years to be able to speak to him. He called me. He said, you are Amod. You are the one who's reading so many papers in this conference. Ever since he used this word, and later on, I think, he became a great friend. You need a just little encouragement. You need to give a positive feedback to your youngsters. You don't become big by ignoring them. You will become big by giving them that little bit of encouragement by being present in the hall. And of course, this picture you have just seen, I must pay my tributes to Narsingh Rao, who took me to an international stage. We were confined to India. He provided me a platform where we could share our work on the international arena. And here is Anita Agarwal on our Founders Day as the chief guest, my student. And the guy you see next is a very eminent Padma Bhushan cardiologist who was our director. He gave unstinted support. He says, if this guy wants, he's honest. He opened the doors. You want anything, I'll give you. He didn't give even pennies to many other people. So if you're on the right path, people will come forward to help you spontaneously. I'm sure like Dr. Jain gets that kind of support from the trustees of this. Yeah. We were doing very well, and we happened to invite for one of our Founders Day, M.K. Bhan. He was the secretary of biotechnology department. He's a pediatrician. He's the only one guy in the country whose vaccine is under trial for the rotavirus, which kills millions of children in this country. He came, he was shown around the institute. He said, I'm not impressed. I said, we published so many papers. He said, I'm not really impressed. I was shocked. We have such a wonderful facility. He says, I'm not impressed. You people don't do research. It hit me very hard. Year was 2010. And I made up my mind, we are clinicians, we have no exposure to basic sciences. I said, no, let's start working. And within 2 years, we came up and successfully bid for a 5 crore rupees grant to set up a modern lab in our center. It came from, again, a very stray remark. If that fellow had not made that remark, I would be very happy with whatever work I was doing. And now we are looking at some of the breakthroughs which are going to come through the lab. Foster friendship, make relationships. This is Dr. Dogra here. 40 years we have absolutely unstinted sport, friendship, complete trust. We have traveled everywhere together, we have stayed together. Even my little daughter here, we are right in his residence in very remote hill of Shimla Hills, in Narkanda. Not only him, Professor Jagatra, many of you know, he is currently the director of the institute. Almost 36 years we have enjoyed the friendship, the trust, and they were my right and left hands. If they were not there, I would not be here today. So we celebrate the friendship. The next generation is carrying forward the baton. The physician, Reema, the Aman Sharma, they are carrying forward the work which was started by us. You need to prepare your next generation. You have to hand over. You can't say that this credit belongs to me. No, it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the next generation, future, who are going to come. It was a very, very overwhelming experience when my friends from across the world, from several countries, from all these centers, including Dr. Jain, T.P. Das, J.N. Rao, you name it, Nagpal, and a number of celebrated ophthalmologists, experts, scientists across the world came to bid goodbye to me when I was retiring. These are, I would consider, momentary achievements when you get these awards. The real award is how successfully you have passed on to the next generation, and you have to be ready to take a bow. From nowhere, because of our teamwork, because of we were working together with a mission, we climbed up. It's impossible to cross the first 4 positions of the best hospitals and eye centers of the country. But I have charged them. The challenge for them is to move one step forward, one step up, and let us see where they reach. This was the last time I operated. People say, you don't miss surgery. I don't miss surgery because I knew the day has come when you have to quit. You have to quit operating. And here's Dr. Rao presenting on my retirement. And this finally, the final bow. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit of my life with you.
That was Dr. Amod Gupta for you. I now request Shri Vishad Bhai, Dr. B.K. Jain and Mr. Raghunath to confer the Sadguru Humanitarian Award to Dr. Amod Gupta. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for the man. This brings us now to our next category, the Sadguru Medals 2018. For this, I would like to invite, once I have presented the person, I would like to invite Dr. Maniar and Shri Vishad Bhai to give the awards. My first recipient here today is Padma Shri Dr. Tara Prasad Das, the man who's currently the vice chairman of the LVPEI, the professor of ophthalmology at the Sun Yat-sen University, Guangzhou, China, and adjunct professor of ophthalmology at University of Rochester Medical School, Rochester, New York, United States, and fellow National Academy of Medical Sciences, India. Trained in medical and surgical management of vitro-retinal. He has done surgeries with Professor Nam of AECS. He's leading a number of research programs in diabetic retinopathy and public health. He was the man who built the first zonal eye hospital at Michi, which is in Nepal, the driving force behind LV Prasad Eye Care, and brought it to small secondary places in Odisha to further science. He has built lasting institutions to further the legacy, setting policies to make the backlog free, and he is persuasive as a leader. The current leadership positions: Regional Chair, International Agency for Prevention of Blindness. He is also a technical minister in the government of Odisha, member advisory committee to the 13th Five-Year Plan, Government of India. His awards and accolades list is endless. I request Dr. Ranjit Maniar to please come on the stage, and Shri Vishad Bhai Mehta to please confer upon Padma Shri Dr. T.P. Das the Sadguru Medal 2018. Sir, please. Round of applause, please.